أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبي الرحمة محمد بن عبد الله وآله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, I greet you with the greeting word of peace, the greeting of people of Jannah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was asked if Visa and Mastercard shares are Shariah compliant. Before answering this question, it is important for us to know the basic principle with regard to buying shares of any company, because knowing that will help us to understand this important subject. So my brother, my sister in Islam, the basic Sharia principle, the basic Sharia requirements with regard to buying shares of any company is that it is permissible, it is allowed, it is halal to buy shares from any company, provided that company does not deal with haram, means with unlawful things from Sharia perspective, such as riba, selling alcohol or buying alcohol, etc. But if the company does not, or if the company does deal with unlawful things, with haram things from the Sharia perspective, then it is not allowed, it is not permissible to buy shares in that company. So this is very clear, very simple, very straightforward. So in this regard, my brothers and sisters in Islam, as per the company activity and work, shares can be divided into three from the Sharia perspective. Number one, shares based on pure Sharia compliant activity and work from clean companies. My brother, my sister in Islam, you can buy the share of this company without any hesitation from the Sharia perspective. Number two, shares based on prohibited, haram types of activity and work of the company. My brother, my sister in Islam, you cannot or invest in this company. Number three, shares of companies whose field of work is basically halal, permissible, but they engage in some haram or unlawful practices or transactions. For example, having interest-bearing accounts in conventional banks where they receive interest, or they are financed by means of riba-based loans from non-Sharia compliant banks. My brother, my sister in Islam, Visa and Mastercard companies may fall under this third category, which is what? Companies whose field of work is basically halal, permissible, but they engage in some, haram practice or transaction, as I explained, having interest-bearing accounts in conventional banks or financed by means of riba-based loans from non-Sharia compliant banks. Why we said that they fall under this category? Because their main activity, main work is to facilitate electronic funds transfers around the world. They don't issue cards or extend credit or set rates and fees for consumers. All what they do, they provide financial institutions with Visa or Mastercard branded payment products that the financial institutions can use to offer what is known as credit card, debit card, prepaid card, and cash access programs to their clients, to their customers. This is what they do. So we can say, my brothers and sisters, that their main or basic work and activity is acceptable from the Sharia perspective. Also, the objectives for which they were established are acceptable from the Sharia perspective also, which I explained is providing payment system via credit cards, debit cards, etc. So simply, my brothers and sisters, we can see they are payment networks service providers. Not more than that. They are what? Payment networks service providers. But the only Sharia issue with these companies, Visa, Card and Mastercard companies, is that they make deposits or borrow on the basis of riba, on the basis of interest. So the way to tackle this issue is to apply the Sharia solution in this kind of situation. You may ask how to do that. Just pay attention with me. Number one, we have to make sure that the amount these companies raised as loan on interest basis, on riba basis, whether long-term or short-term, shall not exceed 30% of the market capitalization or the market cap, means the market value of their shares. Again, we have to make sure that the amount they borrowed as loan on interest basis shall not exceed 30% of the market capitalization or market cap, the market value of their shares. Number two, the total interest-bearing deposits, whether short, medium, or long-term, of these companies shall not also exceed 30% of the market value of the total shares of these companies. Are you with me? So this is how we can solve this problem. We have to make sure that the amount they borrowed shall not exceed 30% of the market capitalization, the market value of their shares. Number two, the total interest-bearing deposits also shall not exceed 30% of the market value of the total shares of these companies. Number three, with regard to profits, every year we have to look at the balance sheet, means last verified, financial position of these companies, and see what the percentage of riba, means interest, is to the total profit ratio is. Again, every year we have to look at the balance sheet of these companies, means the last verified, financial position of these companies, and see what the percentage of interest of riba is to the total profit ratio is. So my brother, my sister in Islam, I hope you are following me. We have to make sure that the amount of income resulting from the prohibited components such as riba, etc., shall not exceed 5% of the company's total income. The first two solutions we said, the money they borrowed shall not exceed 30% of the total share of the company. Number two, we said the total interest-bearing deposit where they earn interest shall not also exceed 30% of the market value of the total share of the company. Here, with regard to the profits, let's say they pass this one, so we have to go to the profits. Every year we have to look at the balance sheets of these companies and see what the percentage of interest of riba is to the total profit ratio is. So we have to make sure that the amount of income resulting from the prohibited components, such as riba or selling alcohol, etc., from the Sharia perspective, shall not exceed 5% of the company's total income. For example, if the riba, the interest to the gross profit ratio is less than 5%, or reaches 5% exactly, means does not exceed 5%, then it is permissible to buy shares of this company. But on condition, listen to this condition, that profit or the profit achieved is purified, what we call in Arabic tanqiyah, at the same rate of the interest, Again, we said we have to make sure that the amount, of income resulting from the haram, component, riba or selling alcohol, etc., shall not exceed 5% of the company's total income. This is clear. So I gave you example. If the total profit ratio, or if the interest to total, or the riba to total profit ratio is less than 5%, or reaches 5% exactly, means does not exceed 5%, it is permissible for you to buy the share of this company, but on condition that the profit achieved, the profit that you receive, or the profit that the company receive is purified, what we call in Arabic tanqiyah, at the same rate of the interest. Let's say the interest to total profit ratio is 5%, then you have to pay 5% to charity from the profit you received. I hope it's clear. Let's say, for example, you receive $1,000 as profits from Visa or Mastercard company. You have to pay to charity 5% of the $1,000, which will be $50. I hope this is clear, how to deal with this. To conclude, my brothers and sisters in Islam, a person can buy the shares of Visa or Mastercard company or any similar company, since their main activity, their main work is to facilitate electronic, funds transfer throughout the world, provided certain conditions are met. I'm repeating these conditions for us to comprehend and understand. The percentage, number one, the percentage of money collected or borrowed by Visa or Mastercard company does not exceed 30% of its market share value. Number two, the total riba or interest-bearing deposits shall not also exceed 30% of the market value of its total shares. Number three, the amount of income resulting from the prohibited component, as we said, such as riba or selling alcohol or any prohibited items from the Sharia perspective, shall not exceed 5% of the company's total income. So if the total amount, let's say the riba to total profit ratio is less than 5% or reaches 5% exactly, then it is allowed to buy the company shares. But you have to do the purification, tanqiyah, of 5% from your profits, as we explained. So my brother, my sister in Islam, if these conditions are met, then a person can buy their shares. Insha'Allah tabarak ta'ala. Allahumma kfina bihalalika an haramik. Ya Allah the merciful, give us from the halal, lawful, what suffices us, from haram, and make us among the pious and God-fearing people, Allah-fearing people. Barakallahu feek, barakallahu feekum, barakallahu feekum. هذا وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا والحمد لله رب العالمين.